You might think that by the time you're over 65, you've learned all the lessons life has to teach. But here's the surprising truth. Almost every senior I've spoken with, top achievers, ordinary office workers, retirees, shares one regret above all others. And it's not about love, money, or travel. Welcome to Journey After 60. Today, I want to share 5 profound realizations that have emerged from countless conversations with people who've reached their 70s, 80s, and beyond. These aren't just observations, they're urgent warnings wrapped in the wisdom of experience. Before we go deeper, I want to ask you something. What city are you listening from right now? Drop it in the comments. I want to know where this message is reaching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want content that respects your time, your mind, and your future. Now, let's begin with perhaps the most universal regret of all. Number 1. The weight of unspoken words. Aristotle taught us that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. But what happens when self-knowledge comes with the crushing realization that you spent decades hiding your true voice? One of the most common regrets seniors share is simple, yet profoundly impactful. They wish they had spoken up sooner about their feelings, their dreams, and their true intentions. For decades, they held back, thinking it wasn't the right time, or fearing conflict, or worrying they'd be misunderstood. But here's the truth. Silence carries a heavy price. Opportunities missed, relationships left strained, and a lingering sense of what if become part of everyday life. Not expressing your truth doesn't protect you, it traps you. Picture yourself in the years ahead, reflecting on your life. That one conversation you never had, whether it was expressing love, setting a boundary, or admitting a long-held dream, suddenly feels monumental. Even a seemingly small act of honesty, like sharing your true feelings about a friendship, a family dynamic, or a missed opportunity, could have shifted the trajectory of your life in ways you never imagined. The reality is, the weight of unspoken words doesn't just vanish, it quietly shapes regret, lingering in moments of solitude, in celebrations that feel incomplete, and in relationships that could have been deeper and richer. Almost every senior I've spoken with wishes they had summoned the courage to speak up sooner, to release those words into the world rather than carrying them in silence. This regret manifests in countless ways. The parent who never told their adult children how proud they truly were. The spouse who never expressed their deepest fears about mortality. The friend who never said, "I love you," before it was too late. We become prisoners of politeness, sacrificing authenticity for the illusion of social harmony. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Your voice, your truth, your authentic expression. These aren't luxuries to be saved for special occasions. They're the daily bread of a life well lived. But unexpressed words are just the beginning of what haunts us in our later years. There's something even more insidious that robs us of joy. Number 2, the prison of perfectionism. For decades, many seniors have lived under the invisible weight of perfectionism, believing they had to have the right job, the perfect relationship, the flawless retirement plan before taking bold steps in life. That relentless pursuit of perfection often delayed the very experiences that bring fulfillment: traveling, starting a new hobby, pursuing a dream, or even simply saying what needed to be said to the people they love. Perfectionism creates a false barrier. I'll act when the timing is perfect, when I'm ready, when everything lines up. But here's the harsh truth almost everyone discovers too late. The perfect moment rarely exists. Waiting for it often means waiting forever, watching opportunities slip quietly by. The seniors I've spoken with share a common realization. Freedom and joy arrive not when everything's flawless, but when they allow themselves to act authentically, imperfections and all. It's in letting go of impossible standards that life finally opens up, revealing experiences they once thought were out of reach. My friend David Brennan, a retired engineer who spent 30 years perfecting a novel he never published. When I asked him why at 72 he finally decided to release it, his answer stunned me. I realized I was waiting for perfect when good enough would have brought joy to someone somewhere. The pursuit of perfection becomes a form of procrastination disguised as virtue. We tell ourselves we're being responsible, thorough, professional. But research from Dr. Brené Brown's work on vulnerability shows that perfectionism is actually correlated with depression, anxiety, and decreased life satisfaction, particularly in older adults who realize they've missed opportunities while chasing impossible standards. This connects directly to what I mentioned earlier about authentic expression, and it foreshadows something crucial I'll share later about purpose. You see, perfectionism doesn't just delay our actions, it corrupts our understanding of what action should look like. The solution isn't to abandon standards, but to redefine them. Instead of asking, "Is this perfect?" ask, "Is this meaningful?" Instead of, "Will this impress others?" ask, "Will this serve others?" The Japanese have a beautiful concept called wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection and impermanence. What if we applied this philosophy to our remaining years? Choose one project, conversation, or goal you've been postponing while waiting for perfect conditions. Set a deadline of 1 week from today to take the first imperfect step. Not to complete it perfectly, but to begin it authentically. As the poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Perhaps all the dragons in our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us act just once with beauty and courage." Your imperfect action might be the key that unlocks something beautiful. Comment below and tell me, what's one thing you've been perfecting instead of sharing? Now, as we move deeper into these revelations, I want to pause and acknowledge something important. We've talked about the words we don't speak and the standards that paralyze us, but there's a pattern emerging here, a theme of dreams deferred and experiences delayed, which brings us to perhaps the most heartbreaking regret of all. Number 3, the adventure that never came. Many seniors look back and realize the greatest regret isn't mistakes they made, it's the adventures they never took, the trips they postponed, the new hobbies they hesitated to try, the friendships they never pursued, or the risks they avoided because it wasn't the right time. Life has a way of slipping by quietly, and without bold choices, years can pass, leaving a trail of what-ifs. Adventure doesn't have to mean skydiving or climbing mountains. It's the courage to step outside comfort zones, to explore new ideas, or to connect deeply with people who inspire you. The seniors I've spoken with often describe a profound sense of loss, not for the things they did wrong, but for the experiences they denied themselves in pursuit of safety, routine, or perfection. The truth is, the heart remembers the moments of courage more vividly than years of caution. Every small step toward adventure, an unplanned trip, a new class, a bold conversation, builds a life rich in stories, connection, and fulfillment. Those who wait too long often find that the door to adventure quietly closes, leaving only memories of hesitation. The Brahmi Ware's study of palliative care patients found that I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me, ranked as the #1 regret of the dying. But here's what's fascinating. When researchers broke this down by age groups, they discovered that seniors over 65 specifically regret the adventures they didn't take, the places they didn't go, the experiences they postponed for better times. This isn't just about grand adventures, though. It's about the small daily adventures we avoid out of habit, fear, or misplaced practicality. The cooking class we don't take because we already know how to cook. The language we don't learn because we're too old. The friendship we don't pursue because we're set in our social ways. But here's where this connects to our earlier discussion about perfectionism and leads into something more profound about presence. Adventure isn't about age or ability, it's about curiosity. And curiosity, unlike physical strength, can actually grow stronger with age if we nurture it properly. The solution is to redefine adventure. At 45, adventure might mean climbing mountains. At 65, it might mean finally learning to paint watercolors. At 75, it might mean having deep conversations with strangers. The scale changes, but the spirit of discovery remains. Start your adventure renaissance today. Make a list of 10 things you've always wanted to try but dismissed as impractical. Choose the smallest, most achievable one and take one step toward it this week. Not because you have to, but because you get to. Even as we talk about adventures and experiences, we also have something more fundamental that gets lost in our busy, achievement-focused lives. Number 4, the gift of presence. This is perhaps the hardest lesson for a generation raised on productivity, efficiency, and constant forward motion to embrace. Because while we've been discussing actions we didn't take and words we didn't speak, the deepest regret among seniors isn't about doing more. It's about being more present for what was already happening. My neighbor, Robert Williams, a retired bank executive, shared this with me last spring. He spent 40 years thinking about the next promotion, the next goal, the next milestone. He missed his daughter's childhood, his wife's dreams, and his own life happening right in front of him. This connects to everything we've discussed. We can't be authentic, our first point, without being present. We can't abandon perfectionism, our second point, without accepting the present moment as worthy of our attention. We can't embrace adventure, our third point, without being fully engaged in the experience. So choose just one routine interaction each day, whether it's sharing morning coffee with your spouse, catching up with a friend over the phone, or even walking your dog, and commit to showing up fully. Let go of distractions. No checking your phone, no mentally running through your errands or plans, no rehearsing what comes next. Immerse yourself entirely in that moment, in the sights, sounds, and feelings around you. Notice the small details, the warmth of the mug in your hands, the laughter in a friend's voice, the rhythm of your dog's paws on the pavement. These ordinary moments, when lived with full attention, are the ones that transform into extraordinary memories. They are the seeds of presence, connection, and a life that, when you look back, you won't regret having truly experienced. As the poet Mary Oliver asked, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" The answer isn't in some distant future achievement. It's in how fully you show up for this moment, right now. When do you feel most present? Leave your thoughts in the comment. Let's learn from each other about the art of being here now. Which brings us to our final revelation, the one that ties together everything we've explored and offers perhaps the most hope for transformation. Number 5, the legacy of purpose. At this stage in life, it's not just about what you've done, it's about what you leave behind, the meaning you create, and the impact that ripples beyond your own years. Purpose becomes a magnet, not only for fulfillment, but also for the people who are drawn to your vision, your passion, and your commitment to living a life of intention. Those who chase superficial goals or live only for the approval of others often feel a quiet emptiness later on. But seniors who dedicate themselves to a cause, a craft, or meaningful relationships discover that every day carries a richness that money, status, or fleeting pleasures simply can't provide. Purpose becomes your most enduring legacy, not just stories you leave behind, but the energy, wisdom, and inspiration you instill in those around you. So, rather than asking, "What could I have done differently?" ask, "What can I create, nurture, or share today that will matter tomorrow?" When your life is guided by purpose, regret diminishes, and the joy of meaningful contribution transforms every ordinary day into something extraordinary. We don't speak our truth because we're unclear about our purpose. We chase perfection because we mistake others' definitions of success for our own. We avoid adventure because we don't trust our inner compass. We struggle with presence because we're constantly seeking meaning somewhere else, some other time. Your purpose might be as simple as being the neighbor who remembers everyone's birthday, the grandparent who really listens, the friend who asks the deep questions. Purpose isn't about the size of your impact, it's about the authenticity of your contribution. Take a moment to write down 3 ways you naturally bring value to the people around you. Don't think about what you should be doing or what looks impressive on paper. Focus instead on what you already do effortlessly when you're being your most authentic self. Maybe it's the way you listen without judgment, the humor you bring into tense moments, the wisdom you share without expecting anything in return, or simply the warmth of your presence. These are not small gestures. They are the footprints of your remaining purpose. They show where your life still matters, how your influence still grows, and how you can continue to make a difference long after your younger years. By connecting with these natural contributions, you uncover the legacy you've always had the power to shape. Purpose isn't something you find, it's something you claim, and it's never too late to claim it. We began with a question about regret, but we're ending with a revelation about possibility. The 5 regrets we've explored: unspoken truths, postponed perfection, delayed adventures, absent presence, and unclear purpose. They're not just warnings, they're invitations. Invitations to live differently starting today, regardless of how many yesterdays you've accumulated. The ancient Roman philosopher Cicero wrote, "A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives." But I would add this: a life is not important except in the authenticity it brings to each moment, the courage it demonstrates in each choice, and the presence it offers to each experience. If you're 55, you likely have quality decades ahead. If you're 65, you may have the best years still coming. If you're 75 or beyond, you have today. And today is enough to begin living differently. Don't hesitate to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the wisdom we're building together. Leave a comment sharing which of these 5 regrets resonated most deeply with you. And most importantly, choose one small action inspired by what we've discussed and take it today. Remember, the goal isn't to live without regret, it's to live with intention. And intention, like wisdom, only grows stronger with age. Thank you for joining me on this journey.